You're listening to the Ray Hanania Podcast, a weekly overview of all my opinion columns, my radio interviews, and my reports on Middle East topics and on mainstream American politics. My Middle East columns are published in the Arab News newspaper, the Middle East Monitor online, and the Arab Daily News online. My mainstream columns are published at suburbanchicagoland.com and in 7 newspapers in the southwest region of Chicagoland, including the Regional News, the Reporter newspaper, the Des Plaines Valley News, and the Southwest News Herald. This podcast also includes my radio show broadcast in Detroit on the second Friday of every month, live on WNZK AM 690 radio and also live online. It's a lot of information and a lot of resources, but you can get all of this on my writings and podcasts by visiting my website at hanania.com. I hope you sit back and enjoy this latest podcast. All right, I'm here with Iyad Burnat. He's from Bil'in. He's visiting in Chicago. Iyad, thank you very much for giving me the time to speak with you. Tell me a little bit about what's happening in Bil'in now. What is going on? Has anything changed or improved?
You know, it's in Bil'in as part of Palestine. It's under the occupation, and it's from time to time it's get worse. That's because of the confiscated of the land, because of destroyed of the life of the people, by destroyed there is olive trees, by destroyed there is lands. And this the mean of the Zionists, how to kick the people outside of Palestine from their towns by making the life more hard to live there. When we started our non-violent resistance, as we believe in this way to resist, to show the face of the violence, as many people around the world, they didn't know about the occupation from the ground. They know more about Palestinians, and if I remember 10 years ago, many American people, when I was here, the first tour, they didn't know where is Palestine. They didn't.
Right.
Sometimes when you say Palestine, they said it's a terrorist people.
Right.
So to change, we have many successes around the world, in Europe, in England, in the United States, in other countries that we visited. But we want the way how to tell our stories.
Right.
And because we are from the ground, we are in the front line, we attacked by these Zionist troops against us, against our children, that we have many success that we around.
Of all the stories in Palestine, the story of Bil'in is probably the best known. I've heard more about what is happening in Bil'in than I have in many other cities in Palestine. Why is your story so compelling, and why do people know about it so much?
Yes, you know, Bil'in become a famous town around the world as because of many reasons. First, that we didn't start the non-violent resistance in Palestine, the non-violent resistance in the history of the Palestinian people.
Your protest is completely non-violent.
Yes, but also it was in the history of the Palestinian resistance. When you talk about 1936 against the British occupation, it was a big intifada. You talk about the first intifada also, it was a popular and a non-violent way. But what we add in Bil'in is we add the international community and the Israeli activists to join us in the demonstration.
Right.
This is part of our reason, one of the reasons that we use, and also the creative ideas that we make a creative ideas in our demonstrations. Like we made stories that people want to see it.
So you were able to give a message that they can understand.
Yes. For example, we make Avatar movie is known
Right.
around the world.
Is that the 5 cameras?
Avatar.
Avatar?
Avatar movie.
Right.
Avatar.
Avatar, right.
Yes, it's known, and it's a similar story for the Palestinians. That we make our people look like Avatar people, and
Right.
they lead us in the demonstration.
Fighting the oppressor.
Yeah.
They
Because
have
that's what Avatar was all about.
Yeah.
But how did you do that? How did you connect
When we
Avatar?
heard about the Avatar movie come out, we saw that it's similar story for Palestine.
Right.
So we make it in Bil'in as to push the media. Also, we want the media, and it's important to have
very
the
smart.
media that it's the important thing now around the world is fighting by media,
Right.
and this is what they fight us by
Exactly.
as a media. So when we saw that many journalists came, internationals, also Israeli journalists, they came, Palestinians from all of the world, showing this demonstration, we started another creative ideas. We tie ourselves in the olive trees.
Right.
And you know how much it's olive trees is symbol for Palestinians.
Right.
That when you tie yourself in the olive trees in front of the bulldozers, it's also takes a lot of attention from the media that started to show around the world. So when we have this media become a success as a social media, we had lots of international who came to visit. And international, when they come and we want them to come to see by their own eyes, they become our messengers.
So you recognize the power of how to communicate your story. You connect it to the movie Avatar. That's brilliant.
And they've done
It is
many creative things. That's just one example.
One example of
Right.
our creative ideas.
Right. And
But
then you
in the
tied
beginning,
yourself to the olive tree.
So-
That's another brilliant
no, it's
way
the first demonstration of creative ideas. We had every Friday demonstration since 14 years.
Right.
We have internationals, we have Israeli activists join us in these demonstrations.
Right.
The creative ideas was in different days.
Right.
So the first one that we get a message from the Israeli army that they want to destroy a farm of olive trees. What we going to do as a villagers, farmers? It's like our children, the olive trees. So we went there. The idea came to us. We went there. We tie ourselves, all of the people, with internationals in the olive trees. This was the first creative ideas that pushed the media to come and to show this. And it started around the world that people, arts, writing or painting an olive tree with a man hug it on all these that make it more growing. And from time to time, from year to year, after 2.5 years, we succeed to move the wall back, and it's the first time that's
That the wall
happened.
was
Yeah.
redone.
Yes,
They moved it to a different location.
yes, they demolish it and they move it to 500 meters away from the
Major
village.
victory.
So it's a big victory for a small
What
village.
year was that? When
It's
they-
2007,
2006.
September 2007. It was the decision, but they demolished the wall in June 2011.
And why did you? And then I hear everybody knows about the movie Five Cameras. How did that idea come up to do that?
It's made by my brother, and he was taking photos in the demonstrations to put every Friday on YouTube or in social media to get the people know about what's happened in Bil'in. It was a private camera. He's not a journalist. When he saw that he have lots of materials, he started to think to why we didn't make a film or a movie to show to everybody. And he started to collect all the footage after 6 years of our existence. And this is how he started.
Now tell me a little bit about your story. Were you born in Bil'in?
Yes, I am in Bil'in. My father, my grandfather, all of us from Bil'in. We grow as a farmers. We have the olive trees as in our life as economy and business. So when they came to build the settlement and the wall, they destroyed 60% from the farmland.
60% of the land they took.
So in Bil'in, they destroyed 1,000 olive tree.
Wow.
1,000, it means that you was selling the olive oil, now you have to buy it.
Right.
And
what,
many families there.
what did they build an Israeli settlement there?
It's a huge.
Oh, it's
Which
massive.
one?
When you
What's
say
it called?
settlements, internationals think that
They don't-
it's a
yeah,
few houses or caravans.
Like a little subdivision.
Yeah.
No, this is massive colony.
So
this
it's
is
it's like the biggest settlement in West Bank now.
What's
Is
it called?
Mudain Elite.
Modi'in, right.
Mudain Elite. Yes. They make it the same name of Mudain. There's another settlement called Mudain
Right.
in the border of 1967.
Right.
So they make it the same name, but it's far from that's 10 kilometers to show that it's the same settlement.
Right.
But it's in 10 years they success to bring 70,000 people to live in this one.
Wow.
And the plan in 2022, it should be 250,000.
Wow.
Because now it's like a 50% or 60% from the settlement is empty. They're building every time, every night, every day. They continue to build more and more.
So were you born, how old are you? How old
I
are you?
am 45 now.
Okay, so for the most part, you've been living under the occupation since the whole time, since your birth, right?
All my life under the
All your
occupation.
life.
And
So you never really got a chance to pursue what you would want to be, like maybe an engineer or a doctor or...
I had a dream when I was in the school to be go to university and study and be a teacher or a doctor, but they stopped my dream by arresting me in the last year of the school, 1992. And it was because I was joining my friends in the school in the demonstrations. But they arrested me at night time, and same as the law and the court is a military court.
Right.
When I went to the court, I find the soldiers saying that he was throwing stones. How? You arrested me when I was sleeping. And
So they made it up,
yeah, and the judge is a soldier. He said 2 years in jail.
and they don't believe you.
No,
There's
I cannot.
it's not a judicial system.
I
There's
cannot
no
speak
justice.
to
It's a
believe me or
military
not. In the court, you cannot speak. So the judge said 24 months in jail.
Did you spend 24 months in jail?
Yeah.
How long did you stay? The
2 years. 2 years and 1 year home arrested and 9 months. I have a different ID. If they catch me or if I go outside, or it's many laws they have to. And I was a child in that time, like 17 years old. Same happened with my son just last year,
Right. I was going to ask you, what is your son's name?
Abdul Khalid.
Abdul Khalid. And I understand that he had a good future as a soccer player, I heard.
He's still going to gym. He's like soccer. He's like also he likes school. He likes to go to the law. But when it's happened to you, as me 25 years ago, and it's happened now to my son, you learn a lot. So after 2 years in jail, for me, I didn't go back to school because of what was a lot of pressure. Same on my family and my father. My father have 11 children. 6 of us, 9 brothers, 2 sisters, and 6 of us was in jail. The last one was 10 years in jail. The youngest one. And my father is a farmer. He cannot feed all these children and send them to school or university. So, it's difficult life. So I learn from that time that my children have to go to school. They have to study, because education we can fight more by education, by educate people about our story. We need to learn. We need to go to universities. We need to learn more about how to get our story out,
Right.
how to help our people.
Tell me what happened to you with the Israelis. What did they do to you? One of
This
the
was
things-
by special forces, one of the demonstrations. They let us cross, and I find 6 soldiers coming from between the walls. Sanasil, they came out and they attacked me. So it's like
They knew who you were, right?
yeah, they came to me.
You're the leader of the protest in Bil'in, one of them, one of the
Yeah,
community.
so they came to me. They start beating me without asking any question. All of them. They broke 2 ribs in my chest. It was lots of pain. Then they arrested me. So before arrested me, they tie my hands and they tie my eyes. Before tie my eyes, they spray my eyes by the paper tear gas.
The tear gas?
The tear gas paper, it's like a proper tear gas.
Pepper gas. Oh, the
Pepper
spray.
Yeah.
spray.
The pepper spray. They
To make-
sprayed your eyes
In
with
the
pepper
eyes.
spray.
Yeah, then they cover it by this. So
You
I,
keep it in your eyes.
they want to keep me in pain and all the way.
And they tied his hands so he couldn't do
It
anything.
was like the hard day in my life. That's I was shouting. That's take me to hospital, to doctor, to I'm broken. They put me in the ground of the jeep. The soldiers put their foot in my body.
God.
And they was going, I don't know where, for 10 hours.
14 hours? They
For,
kept you like
no,
that?
for 10 hours.
For 10 hours.
Yeah.
They kept you for 10
Yeah,
hours?
it's
in-
mid of the night. It's about 12 at night. They didn't talk me to the doctor. They didn't talk me to hospital. They didn't talk me to the court. They just came, throw me in a road.
That's a war crime. That's
It
terrible.
is.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And this road also, it's a very dangerous road. So I thought that they want to kill me by different way. They don't want to shoot
Oh,
me.
yeah,
You
yeah.
wanted an
Or-
accident.
Then they can blame
Yeah.
it on somebody
It
else.
looked like an accident.
Yeah. Or settler come shooting me
Yeah, yeah.
or driving me. So by chance it was a Saturday and it's a holiday for settlers. And I had a Palestinian who crossed from there. They call ambulance and they took me to the hospital. Also, and that's they didn't want anybody to know. When they arrested me, they broke my phones. Yeah.
So he couldn't call him.
Yeah, by sticks they start it's like when they arrested me, many people in the village was afraid. That's why they beating him, they going to kill him. So everybody start to call my phones. When they hear the phones ringing, they start to
Break them.
break. Yeah, so it's one of the stories that's
When did that happen, Iyad?
it is it's maybe 2 years.
2 years ago.
I don't remember because it's many.
There's so many incidents. Yeah, too many.
My eldest son been injured by.
What happened to him?
They shot him by live bullet in his leg.
Is this the one who was playing soccer?
No,
The-
this is he.
got
All of my children playing soccer and they love
Right.
soccer, but also they love school. They are smart. They are clever in the school. So in his same way, it was before the end of the year in the school they shot him. It was like a message to the family, to me, that we can attack your children if you didn't stop this.
Do you think they singled out the kids by shooting them to send a message to you and the other families
This
that
is what I feel and this is what I understand. Why my children?
Wow.
So this, they arrested me many times. They tried to stop me many times. They attacked me many times. The last time they broke my chest when they was beating me.
Yeah.
So they didn't succeed to stop me because I believe in this way. I have to send this message. I have to educate people about our love. So they started my family. So my home been attacked many times.
And you've been identified as one of the organizers and leaders of this movement to stop the wall that they built in Bil'in.
Yes, I am.
You were very successful in doing that. So you're kind of an inspiration to a lot of Palestinians.
Yeah, especially when we had many famous people visiting us in Bil'in, like Jimmy Carter, like
Right.
Desmond Tutu, many members from the British Parliament. Also from England, that we have many success
Right.
in the ground
Right.
in the BDS movement. In Europe, there is a lot of success, especially in Scandinavian countries, in Ireland, in Belgium, Switzerland. All these countries that we visited, we had a success in BDS movement.
Right.
So they don't want this to be growing. They want to stop us by using a violence against us, against our children.
So they use the violence against
They,
us.
yes.
It's
they
not
use-
us. I mean, you're not. Are you a violent person?
I don't like violence.
Okay.
And I like to teach my children also this way. But who's made them a violent?
Yeah.
Who made them carry a hate? I have a child. He's turned 5 yesterday. He's grown to seeing the soldiers inside of the house cover their faces with guns, with dogs. Wake up seeing all this, arrested his brother or his father, beating him in front of him. If you ask him now, he's hate.
Angst.
He's very angry. In the future, if you ask him, he said, "I will kill them."
Out of
But who's-
emotion and anger.
Yeah, who did that for him?
Yes.
You know?
He did that.
So it's really very hard to live like this life, especially when your children are growing in this way.
Why don't you leave?
I will never leave because this is my home, this is my land, this is my life. Why I didn't fight for a better future for them?
And that's what they want too.
Yeah.
right?
So it's my children didn't like to move
Right.
also. So the way that they treated my children, when they shot my son, he was with me. And they can shoot me if they want. They shot him. He was near me. And we were close to my home. That
What were you doing?
it was not a demonstration, a Friday demonstration. In that time, we was standing in support to Gaza
Right.
in the war 2014 to stop the war in Gaza. So we soldiers came in the village. It was inside of the village. So we saw the soldiers came, then they start to shoot. After that, we went back to my home. We saw this jeep of soldiers coming. The commander came out from the jeep from 30 meters of us. He shot him and he went back. It's just like I can do that every time. He felt in front of me, and it was, it was very hard when you see the blood and all
And
this.
he's your son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So it's
How is he doing now?
a long story with him. It was to give him a treatment and to take him to hospitals. They stopped him. They didn't give him a permission in many times. So he ended in Istanbul now, after doing many surgeries in Jerusalem, in Ramallah. He did another surgery and treatment for 6 months, but he still didn't move or feel his foot because the bullet cut the main nerve in his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to give him hope also, he started a university. He's like to study civil engineering now. Yeah, in Istanbul.
And that's why you're here in the States. to
So
help.
we hope to help him, to give him hope, to continue his he's studying.
Tell me his name again.
Majd.
Magic.
Yeah, Magda.
That's all right. And
Yeah. So it's the second one also was the same way. They shot him in his head.
well,
In his head by rubber coat steel bullet.
yeah, I've seen
So it's broken the skull. He spent 1 week in hospital, and the doctor succeeds to stop the blood in his brain.
good. All this, just because
So
they want to
uh,
teach us a lesson to
Yeah.
stop.
So 1 week later, they came to house. They arrested him. He still was under treatment. They took him for 1 week before they release him. They beat him very hard. Also, the lawyer said that they took him to the hospital after beating him, and we didn't know that. He spent 3 months in the house. They came again, they arrested him. Not from the house. They came, they didn't find him. He was in the school. They came at night time and they broken things. They want him as I don't know. I was in that time traveling. They put special forces for him. He was with his 2 friends going to another village to buy a pizza when they was studying. They put special forces for him in the road and they catch him. They arrested him. They took him to the side of the wall in near village, not in Bil'in village, because in Bil'in we have a concrete wall. In the next village, because it's far, they have a fence.
Right.
So they took him to the fence. They take photos for him near the fence. And in the court, they said they was cutting the fence. You know, so in Bil'in we didn't have a fence.
Right.
So why they had
Why
to
would
go
you go all
to,
the way
Yeah, yeah.
there
you know?
to do that?
Manufacture this
Yeah,
They
so-
lie.
created this story.
And this was because they put 15 soldiers in the court, 13 soldiers, 3 commanders to say that
To
against
testify against him.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Abdul Khalid.
And how old is Abdul Khalid?
Abdul Khalid, 17, when they arrested him, he's entered to 18 in jail. And he's been released last month after 13 months in jail. Also, he pay a big fine with his friends. Each one have to pay 18,000.
Wow.
So it's to make it hard for families, for friends, for internationals, for everybody that you want to support, to make it hard.
And the occupation makes a lot of money for Israel.
Yeah, and I understood, did they injure him or shoot him too, or
Yeah, this is the
they
one.
shot him, right?
This
In
is
the
the
head.
one who's been shot in
Shot
the
in the
head.
head.
Yeah, the third one, I was here in New York. I just entered New York to participate in United Nations conference last year. And the first news that I heard that the soldiers in my home and they shot my son. It was 3 morning. They shot him in his chest and his head. Same as what happened with his brother. He spent time in hospital. After release him, they came, they arrested him. So this Muhammad is 15 years old.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, it's because of his age and his injury, the lawyers success to release him after a while by paying a fine.
How many kids have you had that have been injured by the Israelis? How many children? Have been
3.
injured? 3 of them have been injured.
Yes, and 4 is 5 years now. He's also injured from his side. And I have a daughter, she's 13 years old, and the same old with the war.
And you're here in the States to raise some funds to help the one son, and maybe set up a educational fund for kids in Bil'in?
Yes, the main thing that's, you know, it's for everybody, for all children
Right.
who cannot go to school, who cannot go to have education, that we try to help them. And you cannot do this by without doing a non-profit organization,
Right.
especially here in the United States. And also, it's not because of my son, but because of Majd that is a Palestinian, that he's been injured, suffered for a long time, to give him some hope to continue his education.
Have you you've met with a lot of people here in the States, or you're...
It's a short visit.
Yeah, just
I know.
beginning.
Yeah,
Just to start.
I know. I've been in all the states before. I did lots of tours in universities, in churches, in public meetings, conferences. Yeah, we did a lot of work. I know many people, but this time it's like a short visit to try to help these children and.
All right, Iyad, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.
This has been the Ray Hanania Podcast, a weekly overview of all my opinion columns, my radio interviews, and my reports on Middle East topics and on mainstream American politics. For more information, go to hanania.com. Thanks for listening.